Good. Let's go. Very fast. I see my record classes, they're very slow, so I'm gonna go really fast. All right, file, reader. I'm gonna give an example of how you haven't covered how to read files, data from files, right? Right? Okay. Schools.txt. So you see, I created a text file, not Java class. It's a text file, correct? So I created a text file here, and inside this text file, we're gonna write some school names again. Stanford, the best one, right? I don't know if it's best. What are you thinking, just Stanford? Good, right? I wish I had a chance to go to Stanford or Harvard or Yale. Let's see this just for universities. And all others close, other tabs. Which one? This one. Okay, now I'm gonna create another class, file reader class. And this class we're gonna have PSVM. And here, so I have this file and it has Stanford, Princeton, Harvard, Yale inside. Let me, okay. In order to read this data and print them out or use them, right? Like we treat them as a string. In order to read data of the schools.txt, I'm gonna create a file object. File, it's equal to new file and the path. So the path to this schools.txt will be the parent folder or directory, if you will, right? Called file reader. So I'm going to use that file reader directory. Inside of that file reader directory, I have schools.txt. Text file means, right? Okay, so basically, I'm just saying, hey, there is a file in this path. This file class is actually built inside Java's IO library. IO means input output. Input output library. So it provides for system input and output through data streams, serialization, and the file system. So basically, it gives us access to reading the external files outside of this class. Good. And with the help of this file, gives access to the external file outside of this class by taking the file path as parameter, right? Outside this class. So I'm passing here the path of the file where it's located, location. And next, what we can do is use the scanner. We all know scanner, right? Scanner, and here I'm going to pass the file, which is the path for it. Everything good, Monsieur? All right. Now, I provided where the file is located. If I'm telling you, for example, hey, can you go get, for example, this screen for me? It's located in this room, the first yellow room, for example. Just like that, I provided the path. The file that I'm going to use, the instance of this file, is located at this location. And now I'm going to scan it. Scan means like you scan the QR code. Strich, or how do you say in Russian? Strich, huh? Strich code, QR code. With your phone, you scan, right? Right? And then, or like it, when you try to open any application which uses your face recognition, it scans your face. So we are going to do the same thing. We're going to scan this file, which is this one right here. Something needs to go over it, scan it, and read the data inside of it, right? So for that, we're going to use scanner. Hey, scanner, go scan this file for me, right? Now, today's topic is about exceptions, but if I hover over here, it says, hey, it's missing an exception. It needs, so what it's saying that right now, I can, let me open the data, Command Alt, Command X. I copied it, and I'm gonna delete it. Delete anyway. Now see, right now Java doesn't know if this file exists or not. It's just a string, right? It might not exist. Right now it doesn't exist, correct? I deleted it. So Java doesn't want to take a risk. Basically, it's telling me that, hey, if this file doesn't exist there, this whole program that you spent so much time to write, it's just gonna go to trash, meaning it's not gonna work. Because if I cannot find the file that you are telling me that it exists, then how can I read the data from it? So I need to put here throws IO exception, and now it's happy, see? Now it says, hey, just in case if the file doesn't exist there, I will let you know, but I will continue executing the rest of the code, even if this one doesn't work out, right? So now what we're gonna do here is we're gonna read the data. Let's see, while scanner dot next line, I think is not equal to null. Yeah. So what does it mean? Next line means scanner opens that file. Let me put it back, sorry. New, right? And it says, oh, file. I'm gonna say school names dot txt. And then I put the schools back here. School names. So what do I need to change now? School names dot txt, right? It has to match the file name. Okay. So this next line, if I hover over this, it says, hey, advances the scanner past the current line and returns the input that was skipped. What? This method returns the rest of the current line, excluding any line separator at the end. The position is set to the beginning of the next line. Since this method continues to search through the input looking for a line separator, it may buffer all of the input searching for the line skip if no line separators are present. Basically, it will scan one line at a time, okay? That's why. And when the line doesn't exist, see, at 4, it stopped, right? So for Java, this part doesn't exist. That means when it doesn't exist, it means null, okay? So remember our best friend called while loop? You're gonna use it for the rest of your lives as long as you are in IT. You have to understand while loop really well. So here is another usage of while loop. For loop we use when we know how many times we have to scan, how many times we have to iterate, loop, right? Cycle. But here I'm using while loop specifically because I don't know how many lines of code, lines of text here, right? I don't even know if this file exists or not. So I'm not gonna take a risk of writing for loop here. I'm gonna use while loop. And while the next line is not equal to null, keep going, right? Keeps spinning until there's no more line left. Okay, and then I'm gonna say system out, println, And scanner dot next line. What will it should be okay. Yeah, I think it should be okay. All right, let's go ahead and run this. Yeah. School names, no such file or directory. School names. Why there's mis directory? File reader, school names. What, what do you guys see? See, couldn't find it. Why? What if copy? Yeah, let's try this way. Dot okay. Yeah. Other way is to right click, copy path, and then I think I could use that. Is it the same thing? Yeah. Okay, let me oops. Let me copy path. And how about I get it from the source? I mean the root. Okay, let's run it. And it started from Princeton and at Yale. Princeton and Yale. Oh, I see what's going on. Yeah. So now here's another thing I'm gonna do. String line equals null. Oops. And I'm going to each time store this in a line. Okay. And then I'm gonna print out that line here. That should do it. Yes. I'm gonna try a different way here. I'm gonna go with scanner that has next. Yeah, while it has next line, I'm gonna print out scanner dot next line, right? Was it next line? Scanner dot line. Yeah, next line is good. Yeah, this will perfectly work now. There we go. Boom. See? What happens is this next line, every time when I call next line, it will every time when I call next line, it basically points the cursor to the next line. Next line's beginning. And I had next line here and in here. That's why it was skipping the first one. It printed the Princeton. Skip the Harvard, print the Yale. So now it's happy, right? So where do we use it? How do we use it? At work, you're gonna use it. Not necessarily always reading from the file, like text file maybe. Sometimes you will have to read it from a CSV file, the data, which is CSV stands for comma separated value. C comma S separated V value. Oh, you guys should know this by now. I'm talking to my previous batch students here online. Don't worry, guys. Okay, I don't need this line now, right? So now I want you guys to do the same. Create a file directory called file reader or read the files or whatever you name it. And then create a class like this. And then create fruits or vegetables or cars or airplanes or colors, whatever, any text file, and read it and print out the values like this, okay? I will share this code in the Slack channel too. I just created this list, okay? It's an array list, which will store only strings, let's say. And oops, Stanford. What's the other school? Princeton, Harvard. Yeah. Let's say I have these 4 schools and I want to store them inside this array list. So each time when I scan, all I have to do is list.add scanner dot next line. Right? Do you remember this? The array list? Array list. Or I can do array, oops, array list like this, right? So array list. It's an array, but without a size defined, yeah? No strict size. Okay. And how do I add elements into an array list? I just add them by using the method called add, right? And this gives me a string. So now inside this array list, I have all the schools. So if I want to print out, perhaps I could just go list and run it. Boom. See? Now it's telling me that, hey, you have these 4 schools in an array list now, correct? So since I have all these schools in an array list now, I can do whatever I want, just like dealing with a regular array list collection, correct? So I can sort them, collections dot sort, and I provide list. And then I can print it out after sorting list. So after sorting, as you can see, and this is before sorting or not sorted, right? If you will. So as you can see, before sorting, it was reading line by line. So Stanford here first. How do I move here? Here. So just like the way it was inserted into the file, it was reading it in the same order. Stanford first, Princeton second, Harvard third, Yale last. But now, since I have added all these schools into an array list, with the help of sort method from collections interface, I could use collections class, sorry, why am I saying interface? Yeah. I could sort this array list, as you can see here, H, P, S, Y. So it sorted it in an ascending or natural order. Good. Now let me give you another task. So now how about, so now if I have to, for example, read, let's see what. Let's say I have this file now. I will send you all the code. Don't write, please. I'll send everything. So I create file here and I name it as years dot txt. And I type here some years, right? 2021, 1987, 1453, 1780, 58, 1996. Okay, so now here I have years. But when I read this file, it will treat these as a string, right? And not only that, let's do another thing. I'm going to create one more file here, and it's going to be colors.txt. Okay. Online, Elnura, give me some colors, please. What colors can I write?
Hello?
Yes.
Purple.
Sorry?
Are you asking about the colors?
Yeah, give me some colors.
Purple,
Purple. What else?
pink, white,
Pink, white,
gray.
gray.
How many colors in it?
Two more.
Red and black.
Now we know all her favorite colors, right? Thank you. All right, so apparently purple and pink comes on top. So if anybody wants to buy a gift for Elnura, buy it in purple color. If not available, then pink. The last, then white. Anything these are probably her. Yeah. Just kidding. Thank you, Elnura. All right. So here's the thing. I have 3 different files here. One is Stanford, one is colors, one is years, right? I mean, Stanford, school names. So 3 different files. Now, if I want to read those files, I have to write the same thing again, right? I'm gonna go here. I don't need this right now. And as you can see, I am adding them to an array list. And then I'm just printing out that array list. String, oops, word or line, right? And then I say from what? List and system out println, just line. And now here is the cool thing. Colors, let's see Elnura's favorite colors. Boom. See, all I have to change is this part, years. See, right? I'm just changing right here. So let's do this, guys. I just want to file path as a string. Yeah, I want you guys to create me a method. Okay, the task, create a method which takes the file path as a parameter and reads the file lines and returns read the file lines. I don't want you guys to think of it as a separate problem. So create a method which takes a file path as a parameter, right? And returns array list of strings, which is the data from that file, right? From that file. What do you guys think? Can you do this? You don't have to do much.
I'm
right?
just confused, like what to write in the parameter, like
So
the
here's
name.
the yeah, here's a hint. I don't know. That's a great question. Here's a hint. So if I want to right now see the years, I am just changing this part, right? If I want to see colors, these colors, I am not changing anything in the code. All I'm changing is this part, colors, dot text, and boom. Now I see colors. If I want to see the school names, all I do is, see, the rest of the code I don't touch anywhere, correct? So use that as a hint. Hint будет in Russian? Подсказка. And I give you guys 15 minutes for this one. Okay, so for this guy, I know some of you already solved it, right? Some didn't. Some didn't solve it. Do you guys want me to go over this or no? And show you how? Okay. So the task is create a method which takes a file path as a parameter, which could be, well, I could send this file object as a parameter or just a string. And I feel like string is much better. Yeah. So I don't have to keep dealing with this IO exceptions here. So what I need to do is just look at this word, create a method which takes the file path as a parameter. Okay, let me do that first. I don't even need to do public, whatever, static, and returns array list of strings, right? So array list string, and then read file, or yeah. And here it takes string file path, right? Okay, now that I have it here, array list string data equals new array list. And now all I have to do is create a scanner. Scanner equals new scanner. And then I'll put here the file path. And then the rest is this right here. Instead of this, I put data, and oh, I don't even need this guy. Return data. I don't need this. I don't need any of these lines here. All I need schools. Boom. Okay. Color list, full list. color list, year list. Okay, and then this is gonna be colors, years. Okay, read file. And it will return an array list. String. Schools. Colors. Years. List of school list equals read file and schools. Thank you. So this is going to be what? Color list, and it's going to be year list. Okay. It looks much more clean now. Just organize things left and right. Okay. And I can just system out println school list. And then color list. And then year list. Okay. And I run it. And what is going on? I'm returning data. Oh, this has to be colors. This has to be years. I run it. Whites. Oh, I'm never putting the file path here, huh? Okay, file. I need to also remove this. Yeah, file object, I would say. New file and then file path. And now here I put the file object. And here I have to handle throws IO exception. And this is also going to complain about putting an IO exception, right? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll send you code. I'll send you all the code. So basically, the same code that I had in my previously up here, right, in the main method. But remember, for each file, if I needed to scan them, I would have to create separate for each one of them. Yeah, 3 different, like I would have 3 different like this code. But instead, I created a reusable method. So this is where the real need or real life usage for methods. Today, you were asking what I was teaching to one of my colleagues, right, at Bank of America. That's what I was teaching. She was asking questions like, you are clicking on some elements here. Can I write this in the test case to locate element, click element? And I said, no. This is on the website, for example, I would say this. On ChatGPT, this is exactly a good scenario. If I search for something here, right? Let's say colors. I need to, first of all, come to this text input area. I write colors, and then I click on this. So you see, it's 3 different actions, right? So right now, if I click here, somewhere outside of the search area, I click somewhere here, you see, it's not focused. I cannot type here. So I click here, I try to type. Well, in this case, for ChatGPT works because ChatGPT is freaking smart. But for other websites, it usually doesn't work. Yeah. For example, Google. Yeah. If I type here, see, it doesn't work. I have to click here and then type, right? So until I click there, it doesn't work. See, I'm trying to type. So same thing. After I type something, and then I need to click. So 3 different actions. First, focus here. Second, type something. Third, click on this. And for that action, for that automation framework that she was asking, for our testing, we always do this. We have this internal application where we write something and we search for something, always. And she's like, inside the test case, do I need to write it? I said, no. You need to create a reusable method, which will find the text area where we need to search, enters the text, if you remember in Selenium or in, man, these are separate actions, right? So you have to write a reusable method which will find this area, type something, and then click this. That way, you don't have to every time do these 3 actions everywhere. Wherever you have to do this, you have to do this everywhere. But what if you write a reusable method, which will, every time you call it, it completes these 3 actions at once? Same thing. If I didn't create this method for each of these files separately, I would write the same code 3 different times. Am I right? So instead, I said, how about I outsource it? Meaning, I create a separate method which is going to be specifically responsible for taking care of my needs when it comes to reading data from file. And I can call it anytime I want. Now, I can have 10 different files. Yeah. And all I do is just call this method, which will read it 10 different times if I need, 100 times, 100 times. I don't care, right? Good. During interview, they asked us a lot. What is the purpose of methods? Why do we need methods? Methods we need in order to avoid duplicate work or redundancy. Redundancy means unnecessary, right? Redundancy in Russian излишек, чрезмерность, сокращение. What? Redundant. Вот ненужный, да? Лишний. Лишний раз. Лишний. Избыточный. Why do we need redundant? Yeah? Лишний, yes. Излишний, чрезмерный. So it's unnecessary, yeah? Not needed. Extra. So we use methods to remove or avoid redundant code. Okay. Great. Now we go to any questions, guys, on that?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, please.
I cannot get like the lines 15 till 17. Like, do you need always to create this list and then call this method? Like, in my case,
No.
I just called the method and then put the string inside as a parameter, and then it also works. Like, which is like, is it correct?
Are you printing it out?
Yes.
Yeah. So for
Print it and then
you,
call the method.
so a list, list and return list, and then yeah, see, you are printing it out. That's why. Like for me, I don't need this lines of code. I just here, this is what I can do. So I can remove this extra part, basically, right? I will comment it out just for you know what? Let me do this first. Let me copy, send it, and then I will change it. Okay. What was that exclamation? And then silent. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now I will change it. We have a copy there. All right. mm, Sorry, 1 second, 1 second. Okay. Okay, here. Array list, string, files equal new list and arrays dot as list and schools, colors and years. And for each conze string path equals files and system out println read file, and I'm just gonna pass here the path. That's it. This will work too. So I eliminated all that extra code, and let me bring this up. There we go. Is this better or worse?
Yeah, it's very short.
Short, right? A lot better. And instead of this, read use streams PI to print out list elements. Yeah. Yeah, look, it is gonna be even shorter. Instead of this, boom, files, sorry. Oh, but for each, yeah, call method will print. Hmm. It returns me each time an array list. And for each one of them, I need to call read file. I don't know. Sorry. Nowadays, like Java 8 has really cool features for like you can use. I think this might work. We might have to, yeah, this will work. Yeah. Streams API, I can one day I can have a class on that, but it's very complicated. Okay. If no questions, any more questions? I will send this code also. This is list code, yeah? Okay. Now exceptions, Java exceptions and exceptions intro to exceptions. Okay, so what are exceptions? We just saw in this code that we are throwing an exception, right? And not many of us know what it is, exception, IO exception. So in Java, for example, if I do this, I have string array and let's say cars. Okay, I'm gonna need, do we have, who do we have online right now? Benazir is gonna volunteer for us. Benazir, can you hear me?
Yes,
Give me some cars.
Toyota, Ford,
Toyota. Ford,
BMW,
BMW,
Volkswagen,
Volkswagen. Okay, good. This is good. Thank you. Okay. Miss Zia, give me one. Yeah. Honda. Okay. Miss Mary. Mercedes. Okay, Miss Claire. We have Toyota. One more. Or India. Huh? Rivian or Jeff Bezos company? The shares, yeah. Rivian, right? Right. Okay. All right. So let's see. Right now, I have how many elements? Let me just print out the length. Yeah, I'm too lazy to count. So it looks like I have 8 cars. Okay. Question to you, Miss Claire. Here's the microphone for you. help me print out the BMW.
In array,
This is cars array, right?
Hmm.
Help me print out BMW.
cars dot length or index 2.
Index 2, cars dot length index 2, right? Like this. And then 2 here, no? Who wants to help?
Just index, right?
Yeah, just like this, yeah?
Mhm.
If I print it out, I see BMW, right? Okay, cool. Now, okay, let's print out now Mercedes. It's clear.
Car index 5.
5. Okay. Let's print out Rivian.
Car index 7.
Okay. Nice. If I run them, see Mercedes, Rivian, right? But when I do this, there's no error. I don't see any errors, right? And then I can actually do this. So here I should see BMW for index 2, correct? For index 5, I should see Mercedes. For index 7, Rivian. But this, what should I see?
Index 9.
Let's see what Java tells me. Java says, hey man, index out of bound. And after that, these two are not even shown. They should be displayed. But Java terminated the entire application at this line. Right? Am I right? You see, it doesn't display anything after BMW because BMW was here on line before or above this problem. Why it doesn't exist? Why it's saying index out of bound, Benazir, for this line 10?
Could you repeat your question, please?
Yeah, why is it saying index out of bound for this?
Because we don't have any value for index 9.
Yes. Our last element is at index 7, correct? Tim, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, here's an interesting part. At index 2, it printed BMW, as you can see here on the output, but then at this line, code broke, and it didn't continue with the rest. And now watch. If I take this line, and earlier you guys saw Tim and Inje was using something like try and then catch. Then I will say exception E and then system out println and So sorry. I don't have any cars because it is not valid index. And I do like this and I do smile face, yeah, multiple. Okay. And then I try to access that now. Earlier, code didn't run after which line? This line. Yeah, after BMW, it stopped. And now watch, if I run it, see, it says, so sorry, right? It's printing, so sorry, I don't have any cars because it's not valid index. And then smile, smile. No, scream first, because multiple exclamation marks, and then double smile. So, what did you notice here? I see Mercedes and Rivian now. Basically, it handles the error or the problem that Java has gracefully. What does gracefully mean? Peacefully. What does peacefully mean? Gracefully into Russian. Sorry, I need to learn Russian. Изящно. Грациозно. Элегантно. Intelligentно. Oh, I'm just kidding. Stylish, yeah? Like, yeah. In an accepting way. Hey, you know what? I can handle this. And I will handle more. Basically, Java says, since we have BMW, since we don't have this, I'll just tell you, hey, we don't have this car. And then I'm not gonna stop your entire application. I'm not gonna say, no, it's done. The rest code is garbage. No, I will continue with the rest. But you deal with it because you are aware of this problem. Right? During writing this code, it didn't catch this problem when I was writing. Java couldn't detect. But here, look at this. If I remove this, look at this. This guy's complaining. And that's what we're gonna learn right now. The difference between why this one is giving red scanner and why this one is not complaining when I don't put into try and catch or whatever, right? Earlier, when I didn't have this try and catch block, it didn't complain, correct? Let me do this so you can see it printed in red, okay? System error println. If I now run it, see? Oh, I need to do Command Z here, okay. See? Now, it just shows us at the end, right? But it doesn't break the flow of the application. Everything runs. That's why we need exceptions to handle the code so it can actually continue with the other ones. Even here, for this guy, for example, colors, yeah? I changed it, right? It doesn't exist, remember? Colors with double S. I only have colors.txt, but color with SS doesn't exist. So if I run this, see, it displayed me. This is because it's inside the array list and I'm looping over it. But otherwise, if I didn't have it, if I had the other code, this code right here, colors is coming. Second. Okay, I know the difference here now. Okay. So here's the difference. exceptions in Java. We have two different types of exceptions in Java. What are exceptions, first of all? The word exceptions. They're events that disrupt, right? The normal disrupt the normal flow of a program's execution. Did it disrupt? Right? Did it stop our code? Did it terminate it? Yes, it did. They occur due to various runtime issues like dividing by 0, accessing invalid index, which we did with, yeah, or attempting to open a file that doesn't exist. So in these kind of scenarios, it will stop the program from running. And Java has a very powerful exception handling framework that lets developers manage errors and prevent programs from crashing by handling these exceptional situations. What are they? So we have two different types of exceptions in Java. And if you remember this, these two words, just checked, unchecked, and try catch, and finally. If you remember these three blocks, when they ask questions about exceptions, you pass the interview if they ask about exceptions, okay? So checked exceptions are checked at compile time, which is this right here. Yeah, see right now, I remove it and it's complaining. So this is compile time. Anytime when you are dealing with some kind of file, yeah, anytime, this means file is an package library from the package called IO, input output. Yeah, it comes from input output. Anytime a library is used from input output, which is IO, it right away asks for an exception to be handled. And this, as you can see, during compile time. What's the difference between compile and runtime? We know, right? Compile time, Benazir? No? Tim, do you know?
Compile time? No, I don't know.
Compile and run. Okay. Aidana, do you know?
No.
Okay. Chinara? Who else we have online? Chinara left. Ulan?
Could you repeat question? What's
The difference
compile?
between, yeah, compile time and runtime.
Compile and runtime is compile time use the overloading method, and
Yes.
run is overriding.
No.
Run is overriding, yes.
No. So run is when I run the program. Compile is right now. So while you're writing the code, this is compile time. Java JD IDE, which has installed JDK, which is Java Development Kit, has JRE. JRE, Java Run. JRE stands for what again? JRE, JDK. Not the difference. I just want to know that. Yeah, Java
Translate
runtime
it to the
environment.
bytecode, right?
I'm sorry?
It translates it to the bytecode.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes,
compile it.
exactly. So we have JRE, which is the Java runtime environment. It is a package of everything necessary to run a compiled Java program. And JDK is Java Development Kit, the full-featured SDK. SDK means Software Development Kit, okay, for Java. It has everything the JRE has, but also compiler, which is Java C, which stands for Java Compiler. And tools like JavaDoc, it is capable of creating and compiling programs. So our JDK, Java Development Kit, which every time when you create a file reader class.java, it basically converts it to a bytecode and creates a corresponding class for it in the virtual JVM, Java Virtual Machine, JVM. In its virtual machine, within the cache memory, it converts it to bytecode and converts a corresponding Java class, which is a code compiler. Like it happens so fast. Okay, it's a very smart IDE, integrated development environment. It's so smart that it already creates it and it checks and it already throws this kind of exceptions. And this is happening in the compile time while it's being compiled, meaning while it's being processed right now without running the actual code. And when you run it, it's also called execution time or runtime. And unchecked exceptions get detected during runtime. Checked exceptions, on the other hand, happens during the compile time like this. That's what the difference between checked and unchecked. So checked exceptions are checked or confirmed at the compile time while the code is being converted to bytecode. Java Development Kit, JDK, already detects this issue and says, hey, you need to handle this exception. Otherwise, it's going to break your code when you're running it. So how about you handle it right now? They must be either caught using try-catch blocks or declared to be thrown by using throws keyword. There you go. We use here throws keyword to handle input-output exception. Okay, IO exception. And the checked, basically the compile time exceptions are usually IO exception, which is handling the files, file reading, right? File writing. Or SQL exception, which is when we deal with databases, you will see. And also class not found exception, when a class is not found, right? We try to create an object of certain class and that class is not found. We try to import certain class, it's not found. We try to extend, like inheritance certain class, it's not found, then it's gonna throw class not found exception. And we also have unchecked exceptions. So only two types, checked, unchecked. Unchecked exceptions are not checked at compile time, but are thrown at runtime.
Same, yeah. Compile time is checked,
Yes,
unchecked at runtime.
runtime. Yeah, that's it. And during interviews, they love asking this question. How do you handle exceptions? I handle exceptions using try and catch block or by handling it on the method level using the keyword called throws. Okay, what types of exceptions do you know? I know checked exceptions, which are checked during the compile time, unchecked ones during runtime. Okay, good, you pass. Here's your offer. Please come and work for us. I wish things were that easy, but they love asking this question. They love asking 3 or 4 pillars of object-oriented programming, which are inheritance, abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism. They love asking these 4 questions. They can't stop themselves. Too much love. They ask that question, boom. Then they ask about static. What is static keyword? Huh? Yeah. What is a static block? There's also something called static block. What is constants? What is final keyword? That's it. 4 pillars of the object-oriented programming and exceptions. See, not much in Java, just 4 or 5 things. As long as you know the really good definitions for this, you pass Java interview questions. I mean, when I say 4 pillars of object-oriented programming, in order to understand how polymorphism works, you also need to understand the interfaces, abstract classes, right? Because they also ask these questions. What's the difference between abstract and interface? What's the difference between regular class and abstract class? Right? Yeah, so you gotta understand. And then, yeah, unchecked basically array index out of bound exception, which we just now saw that where Benazir said we don't have index 9. We truly didn't have index 9, right? See, we only have 8 elements. That means the last index is only 7. And if I try to access the element at index 9, it doesn't exist. So that's gonna throw index out of bound exception. If I don't handle that exception, then my program is gonna crash, terminate. So unchecked exceptions are checked at compile time. So as soon as I run the program, it will find the issue. They generally occur due to logical errors in the code and extend runtime exception. So there's a runtime exception, which is the parent class of the unchecked exceptions. Arithmetic exceptions, like when you divide any number by 0, there's an issue, right? So let's do unchecked. Oh, yeah, unchecked exceptions. So I say integer a equals 9 and integer b equals 0 and system out println or z and integer c equals a divided by b and system out println c. So right now you don't see my code complaining, do you? Java is very happy as of now. And if I run this, it says, hey, there is a problem which is called arithmetic exception, division by 0. It says you have unchecked exception at line number 9 right here. You are trying to divide number by 0. Dividing number by 0 is undefined, right? But in programming, it's an error. It's not undefined. There's no such thing as undefined. There's a null, 0. There's no undefined. Yeah, this is runtime exception, which is unchecked. Yes, unchecked arithmetic exception. So I can copy this and bring it here. Ooh. Oh. Oh, wait. I just want this guy. There we go. Unchecked exceptions are not checked at compile time, but are thrown at runtime. Okay, good. And this was arithmetic exception. Let's do a object with a null reference. String word equals null, and system out println word. And if I comment this out, if I run this, it's printing it. Object reference of null, meaning when we are not able to create an object, when the object doesn't exist. Custom object null exception example for me. Yes. Oh, okay. So for example, string text equals null dot length, it is gonna throw an error, right? Let's see. There we go. So now we have null pointer exception for a string where I have assigned it a null value, right? Okay, great. And let's also handle them. So here, instead of having this, what I can do is try. How do we handle exceptions, right? We can use try catch blocks. So basically in Java, we have two ways of handling the exceptions. One way is using a try block, which contains code that might throw an exception. We try to execute or run some kind of code, and if it cannot execute or if it throws some kind of error, then we catch that block. We catch that exception or the error with the catch block. It's like somebody throws a ball, you catch it, right? So you catch that with a catch block, which handles that exception thrown by the try block. And each catch block can handle a specific type of exception, okay? So yes, this is the signature where we catch the exception. And here, for example, try, yeah, I'm gonna say print out A divided by B, which is gonna throw what kind of exception? Arithmetic exception, right? So I can call it AE, okay, arithmetic exception. So this is just a name for the variable, remember? This is the type. So exception type is gonna be arithmetic exception, AE. Yeah, I can call it like this, or I can call it like this fully, but lowercase arithmetic exception, right? And I can print out the exception itself, right? Here where it's gonna go arithmetic, the arithmetic exception dot get cause. Get stack trace or get message. Yeah, let's do get message. What's the message? All right, let's run that. See, by 0. So instead of this, I'm gonna use error. Let's see. By 0. Yeah. Yep. So, or I can also use the print stack trace, right? like this. So if I comment this out right here, this will print the stack trace, which is the cause all the message, see? Right? Yeah. Dividing by 0. And then blah, blah, blah. Basically, it prints the entire content of the exception. Here it says, for example, the cause of it is thrown by arithmetic exception in Java language, which is dividing by 0. And it also shows me where it's catching it, right? Line 22, see? It says line 22. Found. Yeah, get message is also okay, correct. There we go. And now we handled that. Let's also handle this guy. Let's handle printing out. So I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna say try and print this out. If it cannot print it out, right? Throw exception called null pointer. Or instead of that, I can just throw exception, which is E, right? Yeah. It will catch any exception which gets detected by Java during the runtime, right? Since it's unchecked exception. E dot get message. Boom. Oh, it's not gonna print it. So system out println. Yes. Get message. Basically, this exception, this is a type, data type. This, it's a variable or instance, right? Yes. I can just type here exception if I want to. Yeah. And then this exception is gonna have, right click here. So this exception is actually a child class of throwable class. And this exception has methods. The exception instance is gonna have methods, which are probably coming from the throwable. And if I go to throwable, I can search get message. There we go. Come on. How can I zoom in? Ah. See, it comes from throwable class. And it has returns the detailed message string of this throwable instance. Returns detailed message string of this throwable instance. Oh, okay. Yeah. Which may be null if there's no any message, right? And then it basically returns the detailed message. So it's being overridden by, whoa. Like,
Then from other parent class, yeah, like nest view.
yes. And this is also, oh, it's just a variable, right? Private string detail message. Cool. So now for exception instance, there is a get message method which can get us the detailed message of the exception. And we can throw it, we can, whenever it's thrown, we can catch it. Let's run. It says it's null because it is null, right? Or I can also do this. Okay, so there's one more thing. We can chain this catch blocks. Okay, we can have multiple catch blocks for one try block, but they cannot be the same exception. Okay, so for example, here I'm gonna use arithmetic exception AE. Okay, and I say print out the get message of AE, and then here this says what? Let's go to the no command Z. Okay, and here I can have exception called null pointer exception. Okay, and once this try block throws an exception, this catch block will try to catch it first. Since it's not arithmetic exception, correct? Then only this null pointer will catch it. Let's print it out and see what I mean. It is caught in null pointer exception block, catch block. Okay, let's go ahead and copy this. Arithmetic, yeah. Anyways, let's run. It says, yeah, see? So this try block, it threw an exception, which is null pointer exception, because the string has a null value and null value doesn't have a length. Okay, so it threw null pointer exception, but arithmetic exception couldn't catch that because it's not arithmetic exception. So we chained another catch block, which is null pointer exception, and it was able to catch that. Cool. I could also put here one more. Let's see. So this one could be, for example, IO exception. And this is null pointer exception. Oh, it never gets thrown in the corresponding because of arithmetic came in first. Okay, what's the index out of bound exception incompatible plus change error? Yeah. No. Incompatible class invalid class exception? No. Let's do file not found exception maybe. Doesn't work. Okay. Yeah, that's enough. Cool. During interview, they also like asking this question too, like how many can you chain catch blocks with try block? Yes, we can. All right, I think with this we are good on exceptions so far. Unchecked is
Runtime.
runtime. Checked is compile time. Index out of bound is checked or unchecked? Unchecked, because it's runtime, right? File not found. Input output, it's compile time, which is checked exception. Okay. That's it. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.